How are y'all doing? Today is Friday, November 3rd, and I am back with my update. It's been the usual amount of time since my last one, so I hope you've been doing well. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia, and this is my YouTube channel, Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. Today's video is going to be about my cross-stitching update, as well as a teeny tiny little bit of quilting towards the end. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, I hope you will consider sticking around. First of all, let me start off today's video by saying happy November. Hope you had a great end of October. As you can tell from behind me, I have went ahead and changed out all of the Halloween decor. In November, I do decorate for Thanksgiving. It's probably more pumpkin themed than Thanksgiving theme, but I do continue to decorate for the autumn season and celebrate it. It's my favorite time of the year, so I try to celebrate it as much as I can. So the quilt that's hanging out behind me, I will talk about it a little bit later on in the video. So if you are at all interested, I would encourage you to stick around. However, everything that I talk about in today's video will be listed down below in the description box. So that's a great place for you to check if you have any questions about anything. I also do want to say thank you to everyone who watched my last two videos. I did not do so well about announcing on social media or my various Facebook and Instagram that I had uploaded videos. So I do want to thank those of you who stopped by and spent a little bit of your day with me. I always appreciate it. I also want to say a big thank you and welcome to all of the brand new subscribers that found their way to my channel. Thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. I do try to upload videos every 2 weeks. I know a couple of weeks ago there was a little bit of a break, but so far as I can tell, my videos will come out every 2 weeks unless something else comes up. So I do appreciate those of you who stop back by every 2 weeks to see what I'm up to. And then of course, who follow me across my social media platforms. I always really appreciate it. Over the past 2 weeks, I was only able to watch the tiniest little bit of Flosstube. I have been watching a lot of true crime. I think a lot of you guys are as well because I had mentioned it in my last video. Many of you guys were kind of talking about who some of your favorites are, and so I definitely will be checking some of those out. So thanks for those tips. But I have been pretty much, if I get a chance to watch YouTube, I have been watching a lot of true crime, but I have a ton of Flosstube waiting for me to get back to. However, I did catch a little bit. Carol, the Saltbox Stitcher, she uploaded a brand new video a couple of days ago, and of course I dropped everything so that I could watch her. I love Carol, I love her videos, I always love spending time with her. And then I did watch Olivia B. She has been doing daily vlogs, and so she'll record a daily vlog and then she'll go in, put them all together, edit them, and then put them out as one like weekly Flosstube video. So I've been enjoying watching those. And I've also enjoyed watching Michelle of Cozy Egg. She also has been doing vlogs. So I have really been enjoying watching those and seeing what they are up to. But that is all of the Flosstube that I managed to watch over the past 2 weeks. And I do hope, well, I know that next week, because it seems like working at the Harvest Festival, even though it was only the weekend, it seemed like it kind of, by the time I got caught up with things and everything, it just seemed like the weeks flew by. And so watching Flosstube was kind of hit or miss. So I have a lot of Flosstube to be watching. I think this morning when I was in YouTube, the next video that was going to come up is the Sable Stitcher. So I'm looking forward to catching up with those ladies this coming week or over the weekend. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start talking about what I've been working on over the past couple of weeks. The first project was Noel Sampler by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. Absolutely love this sampler so much. I love when I see it pop up on social media, finishes, progress. I just love seeing it, and I'm very happy. I decided to start it back in the summer, loaded it into my Wheel of Whips app on my phone, and when I spun it and it landed on this one, I was really happy. So didn't get as far as I originally thought I was going to. I think I worked on this 2 evenings, and I discovered there was an error in the border and I had to unpick it and restitch it. Anytime I discover there's an error where I cannot fudge it, I just try to fix it right then and there instead of waiting until the next time, because I don't always remember. But I'm stitching Noel Sampler on a piece of 36 count vintage cedar plank by Lakeside Linens, and I am using the called for DMC threads. I love it. Don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but hopefully it's showing up a lot better than I think it will. But love this one. I was inspired to stitch it on this piece of linen by Carol Crago. She had stitched it a couple of years ago and absolutely fell in love with the linen, with the theme. I like sort of that winter's night look, and definitely was very inspired to stitch mine just like Carol did, because everything Carol stitches is absolutely magnificent. So can't take credit for coming up with the linen idea myself. It was definitely Carol Crago. If you go onto her Instagram and go back a couple of years, you'll see her finish, and it's spectacular. I love it. The next project I worked on Halloween. My original plan had been to take Halloween off and spend the day working first on Jack's Bash, and then I was going to transition over to a new start that I'm doing with my friends, and it just did not happen. In fact, when I was editing my video and I got to the part where I talked about wanting to take the day off, I thought to myself, the universe hates me, and I just know something's going to come up, and I did not have very long to wait. So I didn't get to do any of the stitching that I'd planned, and when I started working on this one, it was actually much later. It was more towards bedtime when I started working on it, so I did not get very far. I'm super bummed about it, but I'm stitching this with Katie of So Tattered, and that is Jack's Bash by Plum Street Samplers. And I don't know how far, I know she's quite a bit farther ahead of me, and I haven't seen her post her progress yet, but this is how far I got. So I did work on October, where it says the 31st October. I did work on that on Halloween. And then somehow I ended up on this side. I usually work, is it left to right? And I ended up working right to left. So somehow I ended up on that side of the border, or that side of the sampler. And when I was working on this section right here, where it's the border around the alphabet, I ended up unpicking that 3 different times. So the first time I stitched, I did it right. But then when I went back to work on it, I thought I did it wrong. So I unpicked it and then stitched it wrong and then had to unpick it. So that was very frustrating. But this is how far I got. I'm looking forward to stitching this again on the 13th. So Katie and I are working on this on the 13th and the 31st of every month. And if there's not a 31st, then it's the last day of the month. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count grandma slip by XJU Designs, and I am using the called for threads. And I love working on this one. I hope when it comes around again, I'll be able to devote a little bit of extra time to it. But I love how it's coming along. I love all of the beautiful colors. So fun. After I worked on the Noel Sampler, I decided to go back to a project that I had started the week before. And this project was started as a stitch along to celebrate Becky Socks for Mom and Christine Hollis Hands Creates October birthdays. And it is the First Winds of Autumn by Blackbird Designs, and it is in the book Winds of Autumn. And I have tried to do this section of the video 3 times because I'm not really sure. Okay, let me tell you what happened. So I ended up in a lot of stitch alongs with Becky, Christine, Christy of Crosshatch Quilts, Yvette, Carol Crago, and Carol Saltbox Stitcher. Is that everybody? Anyway, I'm in a variety of stitch-alongs with all of those ladies, and it all happened on the weekends when I was working at the Harvest Festival. So I would get home and I would see like all of these messages, and somehow I ended up in all of these different styles. It's fine. I think it's kind of funny, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun. But it originally started off with just this one for Becky and Christine's birthdays. And so in my last video, I just had the house done, and I decided to pick it up and finish the vines around the house and then work on the bird, because I would kind of like to get this one done. I am planning on framing it. And I think once I get the bird done, it'll go really quick after that. But I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count vintage beeswax by R&R Reproductions. And I'm stitching it with all of the called for thread. And I love it. It's such a beautiful piece. It's one I wanted to stitch for a really long time. And I'm glad that I'm finally working on it. I did have a brand new start over the past 2 weeks, and that is the shores of Hawk Run Hollow. When I tell you that when I started off the beginning of October, nowhere in the planning of October when different things were going to need to be stitched did I think I was going to be working on this at the end of the month. And it totally happened, first by the generosity of my friends, and second, it just sort of happened. I don't really know how it happened, but it happened that I ended up in a stitch along with my friends stitching this piece. So Becky, Socks for Mom, started this as her birthday start. I want to say on the 25th or the 26th of October. And I ended up picking it up a couple of days later because I had to wait for my linen to come. And Yvette so very kindly sent me the linen for this project. And that is a piece of 40 count Ale by Picture This Plus. So I think either Becky or Christine broke up the Shores block. So this is where it's going to get really confusing. So I am already stitching Houses of Hawk Run Hollow. I'm stitching it with Becky and Yvette. And Yvette went and took each block and broke it into 4 segments. So every month we work on a fourth of the block until we complete it. So it takes 4 months to complete one block. So it's the same situation with this one. The first block has been broken up into 4 different assignments, and this was the first assignment. I'm pretty positive I was supposed to also work on the border, but I decided that I will do that next month. So this was the first assignment on Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. It's going to take me forever to finish this one, but at least I have assignments to work on to kind of help me eventually get it finished. But it's a beautiful piece. I'm really excited to work on it. I'm glad that they included me in it. I'm still unclear how it happened, but I'm okay with that. So looking forward to getting back to that one. I'm not sure if what I stitched was for November, like October into November, or if another assignment will come out in November, but I'm excited to get to it. It's a beautiful piece. I absolutely love the linen. I think the colors just pop on it. And it was really easy to stitch up too. So I was really thankful for that. But looking forward to getting back to that when the next assignment comes out. I do have some new starts that I'm going to be doing in November. The first one is a start that I've known that I've been going to do for over a year. It's actually been bumped a couple of different times. A few years ago, it was supposed to be my New Year, New Start. And then I think later on in the new year, when it was bumped as the New Year start, it was supposed to be my birthday start, and it ended up getting bumped as well. So I decided that this year is the year that I'm going to stitch this one, and it is Sarah Stewart Hardman by Needlework Press. So I'm going to be starting this on November 12th. I cannot wait. Very excited to begin working on this one. My friend Yvette's going to work on it with me, and she told me that I needed to break it up into assignments, so I need to sit down and kind of figure that out. But I'm super, super excited and so looking forward to working on this one. I've already decided that I'm going to personalize it with it would be my great grandparents. In fact, the great grandmother that I will be stitching it for is the one who taught my grandma how to quilt, and I also have her treadle sewing machine. So really excited to work on this one and cannot wait. I'm going to stitch it on a piece of 36 count buttercream, and I actually got this, I want to say 4 years ago on 123 Stitch. It was on sale. I think I got it for like $4. It was something crazy. So I have had it waiting for the perfect project, and it's definitely going to be perfect for Sarah Stewart Hardman. I also have all of the called for threads. It's not on a thread ring, so I need to get that remedied before I start it in, I guess, a week and a half or a week and a couple days. So I definitely need to get my act together and, get it totally ready so that I can start it not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. But I'm really excited. I cannot wait to start it. So this next project is going to be a restart. I was supposed to restart it on Halloween and it didn't end up happening. I am working on this particular project with Yvette, Christy, Crosshatch Quilts, Becky Socks for Mom, Christine, Hollis Hands Creates, Carol Saltbox Stitcher. I think that might be everybody. I don't know if this one is one that Carol Crago's working on with us. Probably should find that out. But we were all supposed to start it on Halloween, and I think all of my friends have started it but me. But it is autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. So if you guys have been with me for a long time, back in 2020, I did start this one, and I worked on it with Christy, Crosshatch Quilts, and Becky Socks for Mom. I used a thread conversion that Jen Lee of Quirks and Stitches had shared with us. And I had originally started it on a piece of vintage country mocha. And although I loved all three elements, so I loved the chart, I loved the threads, and I loved the linen, I wasn't enjoying stitching them all together. And that is kind of why I lost interest in it, because as time went on, I wanted mine to look more like the original. So it ended up getting put in a permanent timeout. And when they started talking about working on it, I had told myself that if I ever restart it again, I'm going to get a fresh piece of linen and I'm going to stitch it in Vicky Clayton silks. So that's exactly what I did. I got a fresh piece of linen. So this is a piece of 40 count Crypt cloth by Lappin Loops. Yeah, Lappin Loops. And I have never stitched anything on her linen before, so I'm really excited to try it. And then I did get the Vicky Clayton silks, which there's not really a good way to show them. I have them in their floss away bags. And even if I were to hold it up, you still wouldn't be able to see. But the conversion that Vicky Clayton did is an exact to the called for DMC threads that are listed on the chart. So I'm excited to restart it. The original that I had worked on back in 2020, I'm going to kind of finish the area where I'm working, and then I'm going to frame it. So I'm excited to get back to this one. I'm hoping to have progress to show in my next video, because I'm really curious to see what the threads look like on the piece of Crypt cloth. So hopefully over the next 2 weeks, I can start working on that one and have some progress to show you guys. But they did split it up into assignments. So I have my assignment that I need to finish. I did make some purchases last month, and the first one was the new Blackbird book, Peppermint and Holly. So this one is a reprint of a booklet that had come out I'm not really sure when exactly it come out, but I know it's one that I've wanted for quite a long time. So I purchased this from Farm Girl Dry Goods, and I was watching the tracking of this one. So Michelle shipped it out. It went from Minnesota to Denver, Colorado, and then it went from Denver, Colorado to Massachusetts, and then from Massachusetts it went to Portland, Oregon. And I'm thinking, oh, it'll be here the next day. And when I checked the tracking in the morning, it was back in Massachusetts, and there it stayed for about 3 or 4 days. So I guess it wanted to check out the autumn foliage. Then it finally shipped out, and it came super slow across the United States until it finally arrived. Oh my goodness. But anyway, I'm so happy it's here. Can't wait to start working some of the charts that are in here. I know this year I want to try, if I can, to stitch this one just to get one done. So we'll have to see. But super excited that this one was re-released. And then from Hollis Hands Creates, I purchased the new North Pole pattern by Kathy Barrick. When she first showed this on Instagram, I fell head over heels in love. It's perfect. I absolutely love it. Love everything about the Santa. I love it. So I definitely jumped on that as soon as I could. And this will also be a stitch along. I think it's in January that we're gonna start it. I also, from Hollis Hands Creates, picked up the 40 count flannel flower by Fox and Rabbit. That's the called for North Pole. And also from Hollis Hands Creates, I picked up the new Teresa Kogut booklet, Hello Autumn. There's a chart in here that I will also be stitching with my friends starting on Thanksgiving, and that is Folksy Thomas. This is what he looks like. He's so cute. And Christine went in, and she's breaking up all of the assignments, and this one is going to be a very long, slow project. So she's only doing like little bits, and that will be our assignment. I think the projected finish of this one is 2025. Can't wait. But I also really, really, really love this one here, and I really would like to stitch it sometime. And then Christine sent me one last little thing, and I don't know how well it's going to show up on the viewfinder, but she sent me this adorable pumpkin scissor fob that I will be attaching to my favorite scissors now that I've shown it. Love it. So thank you so very much, Christine. I've already talked to her. One last purchase I made was for a piece of linen that I picked up from 123 Stitch. I'm not going to unfold it, but I picked up a piece of 40 count gray by Weeks Dye Works so that way I could restart on Veterans Day with all of my friends Land That I Love by Teresa Kogut. So this one also will be broken up into very doable assignments. I keep seeing that a lot in the group chat, very doable assignments. So this one, I remember starting this one. I can't remember when it was. It was shortly after it was released. I worked on it, didn't like the linen because I think I had bought the called for linen and it was way too dark and I was not enjoying working on it, and so I sort of abandoned it. But now I'm excited to pick it back up again because I think on the gray linen it's gonna look amazing. I kind of did a floss toss or a thread pull or whatever you want to call it on the linen, and I think all of the colors are going to work really, really well with it. So I am very hopeful, and I can't wait to start working on it because I really do love this one. And I've always been a little sad that it didn't quite work out. And, you know, I thought over the years, the year or 2 or 3 years since I abandoned it, about picking it up again with a fresh piece of linen. And so I'm excited to start working on this one again. I know a lot of you guys probably think I've lost my mind, and you're probably right, but I can honestly tell you that some of the stitch alongs that happened while I was working. And so I would not see the conversations until later, and then it was like, wait, what? But I'm excited that they included me in all of the stitch alongs, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Every single one has an assignment of some sort, and my number one priority will be getting Elizabeth Furness done. So everything else will just be, for fun. If I don't finish the assignment, I'm not gonna, beat myself up over it, but I'm just so glad that they included me in it, and it's way more fun to stitch along with friends. So I'm looking forward to all of the projects that we started and then all the ones that we will. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I did receive a little bit of happy mail. My friend Megan, she sent me this adorable card. And she sent me some charts that she thought I might like. She also has a brand new Etsy shop, and the name of it is Not Forgotten Stitcher. So I will put a link to Megan's Etsy shop down below. But these are some of the charts that she sent me, and I meant to check to see if they were for sale in her shop, but I'll put a link to Megan's Etsy shop down below in the description box. But the first one she sent me is Pumpkin Please by Erica Michaels. So pretty. And the next one is Plain and Fancy collection called Summer Treats by Homespun Elegance. I love this one. She also included Pumpkin Patch Inn by Little House Needleworks. So fabulous. Liberty Lane by Abby Rose Designs. I actually thought about stitching this one a couple of years ago, and it's been in and out of my cart a couple of different times. I just love it. Breath of Autumn by Chessie and Me. Love this one so much. Grant House 1865 sampler. Love it. I think I have the Gettysburg one, and my original thought was to stitch the Gettysburg, get this one, and then I think there's the Lincoln House, and putting them on a wall together. And I love this one because General Grant is one of my favorite Civil War generals. Next up is Thankful Hearts by Abby Rose Designs. This is so perfect for Thanksgiving. I love it. By Waxing Moon Designs, Autumn House Trio. So cute. The Scarlet House Coverlet Candle Mat. I really like this one. I especially like the Blackbird. Just love it. And then One Nation Under God by Twin Peak Primitives. So fabulous. So thank you so very much, Megan, for sending those to me. It was so sweet and kind of you. And I will put a link to Megan's Etsy shop, Not Forgotten Stitcher, down below in the description box. Well, my friends, as far as all the cross stitching goes, that is all I have to show and share in today's video. If you've stuck around for this length of time, thank you so very much. I do greatly appreciate it. I am going to start talking about the quilt behind me, so if that's not something you're interested in, this is a great stopping off point, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. I guess I probably should have said, and now I'm going to talk about a quilt, because I only have this quilt behind me to talk about today. Did not get any quilting time at all over the past 2 weeks. If I did do any sewing, it was for my Etsy shop. I made some Christmas primitives that I uploaded to the shop on Halloween, and they sold out immediately. So that is something that I'm going to have to start back working on, is making more of those Christmas primitive items. But I didn't get any quilting time. I thought I was one of the days, but it ended up not working out. So I'm hoping, because I have the Civil War tribute quilt that I need to finish the outer border on, and then I have the quilt that I started with Katie of So Tattered. I can't think what the name of it was. Is it Boardwalk Quilt? I started it way back, maybe beginning of September, end of August, and it's still in pieces. Like I have not had any time to work on it, and quilting calls to me. Like, I'm getting itchy to work on quilts again. So I'm hoping over these next 2 weeks I'll be able to sit down and take a little bit of time to dedicate to my quilting. However, in the meantime, the quilt hanging up behind me is called Pumpkin Patch by Rhonda McCrae. And it was a pattern, a digital pattern that I purchased from Primitive Quilts and Projects magazine. They have an online website. I will link it down below. I want to say the pattern, when I bought it, it was not $10. I think I got it free with my subscription. But the pattern is $10 on the website. I absolutely loved making this quilt. I think I did it back in 2020. It's all made out of Civil War reproduction fabrics. I love all of the colors of the quilt. It's my favorite autumn color palette. Really enjoyed working on this one. It went together really fast from what I remember. And I love it. I'm so happy to have it out again this year. And it's just such a wonderful quilt. I absolutely love it. So I'll put a link to the website down below where you can purchase it if you're interested in it. It's very beginner friendly. I get that question asked a lot on a lot of the quilts that I show. This one you could definitely, if you have some knowledge of quilting, you definitely could do this one. The directions were very easy to follow from what I remember. It had good diagrams and everything. So it's definitely one I would recommend. Even if you're a beginner quilter, you could probably do this one. But definitely what they call a intermediate beginner, you could whip this out in no time. But it was a lot of fun. Again, Civil War reproduction, but you could do it in any color palette you want to. So a lot of fun. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend. If you're interested in making an autumn quilt, I can highly recommend this one. Well, I know that was kind of short and sweet, but that is all the quilting I have to talk about in today's video. The plan quilting wise for me will be to hopefully get that one quilt that I started back at the end of August, beginning of September, done. It's one I did with Katie of So Tattered. I'm 100% positive she finished hers already, and a while ago. I remember she posted something about it, but I don't remember how far back that was. That's all I have to show and share in today's video. And if you've stuck around all the way to the end, thank you so very much. The plan for me will be to be back in 2 weeks. So I hope you will stop back by then and spend a little bit of your day with me. If you'd like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, you can find me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put a link to both of those websites down below. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below and I'll either answer them directly or in my next video. Thank you so very much for stopping by today, and I will see you again soon. Bye.